off, I want to say thank you for attending my session for the 22nd annual LAUSD and National Board Conference. My session was the blueprint, and all of you guys had all of these wonderful responses to the evaluations, and I've got all of your questions right here. So I'm going to make sure that I go through them and answer all of them in this video. And this is in reference to the Educator's Blueprint for Calming Classrooms and Balanced Lives. So if you're ready to take this short, brief journey with me, just sit tight. I'm going to answer all the questions, and maybe it'll be some new information for you that you can use to begin the Mind Mode Yoga program in your classroom. Again, my name is Dana Mack, and I am a newly certified National Board teacher. I certified in literacy, reading, language arts for early, middle childhood. I am also the author of The Pirate Who Loved Flip-Flops, and I've got my first mate here, Black Mac. Say hello to everybody. Hello. Who'll be writing this out with me as we go through all the questions. And so I've got everything here. Several of you reached out wanting help on how to actually get started with the program and the practices that we discussed. So this video, I'm going to walk you through that so that you can begin in your classroom if you haven't already. If you have, give me some feedback in the comments and let me know how it's working for you. I'm here to support you on this journey, be it new to you or just new to the curriculum, okay? So let us begin. So let's see. The most important thing too that I want you to remember is this video does not in any way want to make things more complicated for you. It's just to give you some ease, and just know it's a practice, even your own personal practice. It's something that you're going to do regularly. So don't get discouraged. Don't make it complicated. Let's keep it very simple. And it's more effective for the students when we do take out all the cumbersomeness of it. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is regulation and access to the learning. Okay. So let's see. What's our first question? Let me look here. Let's see. Okay, so the first one is the book QR code. I love it. That was the very first question. So again, here's my book, The Pirate Who Loved Flip-Flops. And this book is basically touching on inclusion and anti-bullying, similarities, differences, alikes, differences, and things that are special to you, to your students. The age group is 4 to 8, but I'm gonna tell you right now, even adults who have purchased my book and who have read it find a lot of things that they can use in their adult lives. So I would encourage you. It's available on Amazon. It's available on barnesandnoble.com, walmart.com, and I have my own special link where you can purchase it directly from me. So all of those will be in the comments so that you can access the story of the pirate who loved flip-flops. So thank you for asking that question. It is available to you on those various platforms. The next question is link to videos. So all of the videos that I showed you, they are linked in the Padlet. They are in the Padlet. But what I will do is also connect them to this video here. That way it'll be very easy for you to access them right on my channel. Okay, so don't worry, don't fret. Okay, so next question. The opening meditation that we did, so that was the brain-heart coherence, was painful to listen to. Do I have any suggestions? Yes, I actually do. So let's see. Hold on. Hold that thought. Let's see. One of the things that you can do You can incorporate in your own classroom, you can incorporate a sound bowl that you could use with your students, right? You could do that. Or you could incorporate a Zenergy chime made by Woodstock Chimes. You could do that. So you don't always have to have music to back your meditations. The most effective meditations don't have music at all. Or you can do the tincture. It's up to you. And then that can signal the beginning or the end of your meditation. But in my Padlet, I also linked videos with calming music, so you can try those out. And then as you play them, other videos will come up. Find something that resonates with you. You might like chimes, you might like flutes, you might like listening to the ocean. You may like a certain hertz, 432. It's up to you to find something that resonates with you. You don't have to play the exact same thing that I was playing. You can listen to different types of instruments. Maybe you like the sound of river. So take your time to become familiar with different background sounds and go from there. Just try things out. You don't have to stick with one thing. Okay, next question. Let's see. Resources aligned for middle school. So for the curriculum, everything in here is designed to go from pre-K, which is where I started using my curriculum, all the way to 12th grade, because a lot of the practices as adults, we use them too. So for that question for middle school, if you look at this one here, Mind Mode Steps for Positive Daily Experiences, when you look through it, there's a script there, right? And it says here, teacher script for daily mindfulness practices in the classroom. And you can repeat exactly what I have here, and I'll repeat it right now, or I'll read it. I invite you to sit and be still in your seat to feel centered and calm. You may be sitting on the floor. This is if you have this in your middle school room where they can do this, your classroom, on the rug, at your desk. You only need a firm, steady, comfortable seat. So I go through, I will sound a chime, and this is available to you on Amazon. This is where I got this. I think I paid maybe 10 to 12 bucks for it. This is to signal the beginning of the practice so that they know it's time for your mindfulness, okay? And the bell to begin. Also, I will use a chime to bring the practice of the meditation to a close. So then you tell them, bring awareness to your breathing. Place your hands on your belly and breathe into your diaphragm. So this vocabulary there, help them understanding their body parts. Notice how it rises and falls. These practices can be done with middle school as well, okay? The affirmations. Of course we want our students, even as adults, we should be practicing affirmations because it changes the brain. It changes how we feel about ourselves. It changes how we go into the world and how we present ourselves. So again, I'll read what it says. I am affirmations. Place your awareness right in the place between your eyebrows. This is your one pointed attention. Use your imagination and visualize the words I am in your mind's eye. And then it says, I am are two of the most powerful words we can say, and what you say after them sets the motion for things that become a reality. And this is true. So we just go through, and I have all the things that you can say right there, okay? And then it gives you the one final step. Visualize moving throughout the day with positive thoughts and positive intentions from a growth mindset. See yourself having an amazing day filled with purposeful decisions, embracing the strength of your mind in mind mode. And I put a definition to mind mode in that Padlet, okay? Open your eyes when you're ready. And then again, sound the chime to signal the end of the practice. So the script is right there, okay? Tapping exercise. So this is an emotional freeing technique, right? And it helps to activate the body's parasympathetic nervous system for the relaxation response. It boosts the immune system and it sends calming, it sends like a calming sensation to the amygdala in the brain, letting us know it's safe to relax. And when I practice this with, I don't know if you can see the students that are right here, I taught them about the brain and what parts of the brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the frontal lobe, what those things meant for them in their executive functioning and their decision making, so that they understood what was happening when they're regulated, what's even happening when they're dysregulated. Again, all this is there, and middle school, high school is included. And again, this is your script. And so with the tapping, we teach them to begin by tapping on their collarbone, using 2 fingers or maybe 4, tapping the lip, tapping the head, tapping the sides of the eye. All of these are listed right here. Under the arm, the chin, it tells you exactly what to do. And once you have tapped each area, take the time to inhale and exhale. And so, again, everything's for you. And you can say to the student, you are now revitalized to begin or carry on. Because maybe you do this after recess or after they've had lunch and it's the latter part of the day, okay? Embrace the energy you've cultivated and move forward with confidence. And then I put here a little note, teachers, feel free to add your own personalized message that resonates with your classroom's unique environment and cultural diversity, okay? So you have the ability to make changes there, okay? So this one is Mind Mode Steps for Positive Daily Experiences. And in here, I also mentioned growth mindset, and I have another one of my items that I use, because part of the curriculum is I do teach growth mindset. You can find whatever information that you can gather. I got this from Big Life Journal. I really like them. They're journals that they have for students to write in. They have some particularly for middle school as well. And it's just a binder of, like this page says, a growth mindset corner at home or in school. And I have something similar where we talk about creating a calming space in the classroom. But here's another page, ways to help your child overcome the fear of failure. Growth mindset in mathematics. So again, I got this from biglifejournal.com. And if you email me, I can give you a copy of what I had, okay? But this is part of what we want to bring about through the curriculum of teaching our students growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. How you doing over here, Black Mac? Everything cool? Okay, great. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. So this one here is the mind mode steps to creating your calming classroom. So you want to create an environment that includes spaces and places for your students to go. It doesn't matter if they're in 12th grade. I've seen pictures in our Schoology that shows an area in the classroom. Again, middle school or high school. They had a light, they had pillows, they had, those little white lights. They had some soft things, because you deserve to have that. Students deserve to have that in your classroom. And so I talk about how to create that step by step. I said in the breathing space classroom, calming classroom, consider incorporating a thoughtfully curated selection of resources that supports the student's transformative journey. This includes yoga mats, wood chimes, wall tapestries, sensory toys, trauma-sensitive books and materials for mindfulness, yoga, and meditation practices. And some of those things could possibly include things like this, mindful kits. And I got these off Amazon. So mindful mood, mindful jungle movement, balanced breathing, steadying yourself. So this will give you the bare bones, right? With some things that you can do. And then you can add to it to make it your own. That's the important thing. This one is yoga pretzels. There's also a book that goes with this. My Dad is a Pretzel, but it actually has some of the yoga, what we call asanas or postures. There's plank, there's fish, dolphin. So some of these things that you can practice with your students. Let's see, one more. Shark, snake breath. What's this one? Warrior with friends. So there's cards where the students can collaborate and work together, right? Okay. In the book, My Dad is a Pretzel. All of these I got off of Amazon, but I'm sure you can find them in other places as well, okay? So you can add those into the daily routine or into the calming space. Let's see. So I have a step-by-step guide to using the space, or maybe you have an extra room on your campus and you can speak with your principal about creating a space that everyone can use, because that's what I did at my school. So you can do an initial assessment, which I also have as part of the curriculum, which before bringing a student or students to the calming classroom, conduct the initial assessment to understand their needs and the reasons for their challenges or emotional dysregulation. This will help tailor the session to their individual needs. Give the students a tour of the room to explore the materials. And you can even do that with a calming space, a cozy corner, whatever you're calling it. I would say have the students help you to create the name and prepare the environment. Set up the calming classroom with all the necessary resources, including yoga mats, pillows, and mindfulness materials before inviting the students. Ensure the room is clean and free from distractions. Sanitize the environment after each use, pillows, sensory items, things of that nature. Explain the purpose. When introducing students to a calming space or a room, clearly explain its purpose by using visuals. Emphasize that this is a space to learn self-regulation, relaxation, and growth mindset strategies, not a form of punishment. That is not what this is about, okay? This is about self-regulation. This is about having a space that they feel safe in. Help them understand that this is a safe space that is inclusive and promotes gender equity, okay? Then the yoga and meditation, you can use my Mind Mode Steps for Positive Daily Experiences and breathing exercises and aromatherapy. If that's allowed in your classroom, or if you don't have students who have allergies, you can get a diffuser or one that's like a humidifier, put some essential oil in there, and, you know, like lavender, chamomile, things that are relaxing. If it triggers any type of, you know, adverse reactions, discontinue the use, okay? Also, there's a time for reading and reflection that you can incorporate, having the calming space area or in that breathing space room that I'm hoping you can encourage your principals to create for you. And then we want to have open dialogue, create a restorative climate for students to share their thoughts and emotions. And if they wish to do so in a community circle or one-on-one with an adult, listen actively and offer support. Here's something else that I have. I went to a training and we have this. This is part of LA Unified. It's restorative justice. And again, I use this with my littles. But again, back to the question about middle school and high school. this is online on our LAUSD.org. Respect the talking piece, speak from your heart, listen with your heart, speak with respect, listen with respect, remain in the circle, and honor privacy. So it gives you step-by-steps in order to flow through the circle, and then you create a talking piece. Talking piece could be something as fanciful as this handy dandy wand that I have here that actually lights up, okay? It's up to you. Whatever you decide to be the talking piece. Maybe a hook. Who knows? It's up to the classroom for you to decide. But it has everything you need to know to begin to incorporate restorative justice practices in your classroom, okay? So these things really help. Okay, so moving through the curriculum, this one is creating your calming classroom or a space. So we exit the space mindfully. Again, back to the I am statements, focused on their effort to develop a growth mindset and reinforcing the commitment to growth and resilience in their ongoing journey towards school success. And then you follow up with them. I have created 2 things that will help you follow up. And those are the assessments. So this is a student feedback form that they can answer themselves depending on the age of your students. And if they are writing, they can answer this. And for those who are not of writing age, then you just ask the questions and you fill it out. Because the goal is for you to know how the space, the calming space in the classroom, or that big classroom that you're going to ask the principal for. This can help you to decipher how it is, how their experiences are going. And then with that, there's also one specifically for early education or UTK or TK assessment. This is the initial to find out what do they like in the calming area? What would they like in that classroom? That way you make the space represent the students in your classroom ecology, okay? And then with that, this is the calming classroom initial assessment for the students who are in there and you're observing and trying to find out what does the student like, what are their stresses, what are their challenges, focus and attention, how easily is the student distracted. You can do this one to help you get a feel for the students that are in your classroom and going to the space, okay? So let's see, what question are we on next? Okay, another one, more resources for integrating this into the daily routine. So again, I will continue with my packet with the curriculum, and I'll also include the question, what if students are not wanting to participate? And so for the younger students, I'll say at least pre-K to elementary, I had created this. And these are the mind mode steps. This is Tristan. Hey, Tris. And we begin with I am. He's wearing an I am t-shirt that I created. Number 1, we want our students to be ready to learn. Well, sometimes they get dysregulated. They're off task. So we want them to think about it. That means reminding them, what was the objective? What was the plan? What did we tell them what was happening at that point in time? If they can think about it, then they can get back to ready to learn. What if when it's time to think about it, they have a little bit more difficulty? Then that's when we come in with some of the calming strategies that we taught them. The breathing exercises, maybe they need to enter the calming area for a few minutes, or maybe they are doing the tapping. What can they do to help them get back to ready to learn? So you want to have several different strategies or techniques that they can use, that they can, on their own decide Maybe it's a sensory item, but the goal is to get them back to step one, ready to learn. And once they've had their self-regulation strategy that they've, taken upon themselves to use, the fourth step is, again, back to step one. And I created these. I had one for whole classroom. Well, I've made several of these, but one for whole classroom and one for an individual student. That became this here, the mind mode steps. So from that, I created this. So again, step one is ready to learn. Step two, off task behavior, need to get back to ready to learn, maybe dysregulated. So we asked them to think about it. If they can recall, what were you asked to do? What were you supposed to be doing? And that they can recall. Sometimes they can just, self-correct, get themselves back ready to learn. If they get to step two, again, and it's a little bit more difficult for them to get back to step one, then we invite them to use any of the sensory strategies that we've taught them, the somatics, the yoga, meditation, something that is available to them that they can use. And step four is to get them back to step one. So this would be a visual for the students that you can blow up, make a poster and put in the classroom. And this one gives you all the steps as a teacher of how to move them through the steps as you are learning how to do this, okay? There's also a guide creating the mind mode steps in your classroom. And this also gives you an introduction of why it is necessary, how it helps your students, and you're helping them to transition, get to the self-regulation, getting them back on task. And then I add additional guidelines here. So you want to emphasize the importance of understanding and recognizing each step visually through the associated photographs, if you choose to take pictures of the students in your classroom. Customize the visuals to suit the individual preferences and needs of the students. Implement consistent praise and reinforcement for students who effectively navigate these steps. Take individual photos of each student and affix it to a large board like I showed you here. And then how I would use it, I would put them, that's upside down. I had an arrow that helped us see like where they are. Let me move the arrow up and down, okay? So it's up to you creating your own or using the one that comes with my curriculum. And one of the strategies that we can also teach the students, let me grab this here. I've got all my little knickknacks and tools over here. There we go. This one is called 5-finger breathing. So you would have them lift a hand, and it's basically using the 4-7-8 breath that we can do as adults to help them to regulate, okay? So it tells you rest your tongue behind your front teeth. And this is not part of my curriculum. This is something that was given to me that I blew up. And so basically what you're doing is they're going to take their hand, they're going to breathe in, going up the thumb, breathe out. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. You can even have them pause at the top of the finger and then exhale. So this is called 5-finger breathing, okay? And so they're able to use this as one of the strategies when they are in that calming their body phase, okay? So this again is included in the Padlet for you to use and create one on your own in your classroom if that's what you choose to do. Okay, and so also with the curriculum, I have created a survey for you to use with the students. It will calculate for you, give you a graph to see where their students are. Those who are older, when I was collaborating with the 3rd and 4th graders with my pre-K students, I would ask my students the questions, bubble it in for them, but the 3rd and 4th graders, they obviously can bubble, right? And read. And this helped me to gauge, and of course, I did it in the beginning of the year, and I did it in the middle of the year, and I did it at the end of the year. That way I could gauge whether or not all of this was working, especially me starting out with my curriculum. When I did that, I wanted to know, how was it working, okay? And you know, the students will let you know if they like something or not. So this is also in the Padlet for you, okay? So we want to have that homeschool community connection. I also have this creating a home-based calming space for your child at the student's, place of residence. And it's a parent's guide to supporting children's mental well-being and emotional intelligence, okay? And it gives a step-by-step guide to the importance of self-regulation, addressing children's challenging behavior, and just being able to have mindfulness practices at home for the family. And it gives a step-by-step, gives some things that they can do, as well as how to do a body scan meditation, mindful listening, and how they can integrate these into their nightly routines and their daily routines. Again, somatic techniques, the tapping that we also have in the classroom version of the positive daily experiences, breathing exercises that they can do with bubbles. And this doesn't mean that you can't do these in the classroom. You can take the bubble one to your classroom as well. At home, I have therapeutic massage because that is more appropriate for the home. Grounding exercises, walking in the grass and grounding at home, hugging trees. Nature therapy, spending time outdoors. So we want to have this happening at home and at school. So this is something that you can share with parents as well. And the importance of creating a designated calm down area in the home. They can call it a Zen den, a vibe venue, whatever they really like. And again, I introduced the aromatherapy with diffusers, or even a little waterfall is helpful. And if you can see here, the little guy's here got his cat in the little tent and some lights going on and just him vibing out. Got some pillows there as well. And I give an example of some of the names that they can call their space: Tranquility Corner, Serenity Nook, Peaceful Oasis, Harmony Hideaway, a Zen Zone, Blissful Retreat, Quiet Cove. I mean, the possibilities are infinite. They can think of whatever, feels comfortable to them and what they like. And I say, feel free to choose a name, again, that resonates with their family and the vibe you want to create in your home-based calming space. And so I give the example of what a daily routine and a nightly routine would look like while they're implementing this. And again, we implement the I am affirmations as well. So it also mimics what you're doing in the classroom. And I give some examples there. And then I include literacy and mindfulness, of course, and another opportunity to get that book in there. It could be part of the home-based calming space, also in your classroom as well, okay? So the reason why we want them to have this space also be a literacy space is read alouds with parents can help our students increase their ability to pay attention, ability to focus, increase their listening vocabulary. There's so many things. It creates a stronger bond and relationships, and they're exposed to new vocabulary and ideas and perspectives. And we want to always be thinking about how we can incorporate more literacy activities to build a love of the literary word, okay? And then I give some recommendations for mindfulness and yoga themed books for children. There's a list here, and one of the books that I have here for, again, those who were asking, for students who are a little bit adverse to starting up the practice, are one book that I have that I really like is called A Handful of Quiet. So if you want to ease your students into the practice, you can do a couple of things. One of which is introducing books of this nature. And this book, it's a very short book. It's called A Handful of Quiet. Happiness and Four Pebbles. And each pebble represents a flower, a mountain, calm water, and space. And it's a meditation. It represents different images in nature. Each image, flower, mountain, water, space, embodies a particular quality. After practicing pebble meditation this way, you might find other qualities that you want each pebble to represent. You may want to say that the pebbles represent love, compassion, joy, inclusiveness. The four qualities of true love. The pebbles could also represent loved ones, such as a mother, father, sibling, close friend, or grandparent. Holding each pebble, we can send our love to that person as we breathe 3 times. So you can introduce it in that way. And I have my pebbles here. You can see those. So you can have students go out into the school or at home, tell them to find a gratitude rock, bring it to class, find 4, so that you can implement this. And right off, they don't know that you're beginning to implement a meditation practice. They think it's an activity where you're reading a story and you're incorporating these pebbles in there. And most of our students love to collect rocks. Even high school, I still collect rocks. So you can do a variety. I even have 4 other ones here that I think a fellow teacher gave me. So you can incorporate it that way. Start to use the book as you move into gradually getting them to join you in some of these activities that I present in my curriculum. So this is one way. Another way is to begin with music. Play on YouTube or, Spotify, different musical, say like piano sounds, or again, flutes or the chime. See if they can name the instrument and have them journal it. So they can come in, okay, we're gonna take a time to, bring it down a little bit. We're gonna relax, and I'm going to play some music. As I play the music, I want you to think about what instrument you hear. And then you can get the journals that we have for all the students, have them write. So this is a way to get them into it. If you have music in your classroom, if you're using music, then this is a way to do this. You can incorporate a sound bowl, you can incorporate the tingsha, you can do flute, piano, play something that has them to start to write and guess what the instrument that you just played was. And I would recommend doing several instruments, and then ask them after each time you play it, how did they feel? Did it invoke an emotion? What did they think about? And so now you've got them writing, right? You have them listening. So this is another way to incorporate this into your curriculum and what you are already doing. You can say, we learned about this and that, and now is the time for us to reflect on it. And if it makes sense, incorporate this. Or if you want to just take a specific time to say, this is the time of the day that we will reflect and write in our journals, and you can incorporate this. And then I would build on what you're doing with either the rocks or using the musical instruments, okay? And another book that I've used, this one is called Sitting Still Like a Frog. And it introduces the basics of mindfulness to children in an easy to understand, playful way. It guides them in the cultivation of presence, peace of mind, presence of heart, presence in the body. And it just helps you, the teacher, with different ways to incorporate this into your classroom. So I've used these, and I've used it even with my PAL students, so you definitely can too. And look, this is a little bit telling of how old it is, because what do you see there? A CD. So if it has a CD, it definitely has to be available on Spotify or YouTube. And it's called Sitting Still Like a Frog, Mindfulness Exercises for Kids and Their Parents, okay? So this is another way. Okay. And as we talk about music, I have 2 songs that I wrote. And one is a kids rap, and the other is a song that uses I am in the refrain. So I would pull these and have them create their own beats and sounds and have them sing these. Another way to bring it into the classroom. And I think I mentioned to you guys in the training, humming is a way to relax you and me. It stimulates the vagus nerve, and it helps to increase nitric oxide in the body, which will elicit that relaxation response for the parasympathetic nervous system. So have them be creative. I don't have music to go with this. It's a creative part of the curriculum where you can create the beat and you can make it your own. And if you do that, record a video, send it to me. I will definitely like to hear what you and your students come up with, okay? Okay, let's see. Where are we with our questions? Let's see. And I hope this is getting to the bottom of all that you guys were asking. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Oh, another question I received was about neurodivergent students or students who are dysregulated. And again, the key is to co-regulate. That means we help them when they're dysregulated, because if they are building the capacity or learning how to self-regulate, we have to begin with co-regulation. That comes before self-regulation. And if a student is highly dysregulated, asking them to sit quietly and meditate doesn't usually work. Instead, you can help them regulate through a gentle sensory or some items or a physical practice like moving their body. Chair yoga works beautifully. I have a video where you can teach them how to use a stuffed animal while they lay in the calming area and watch it just rise and fall while they are breathing, inhaling and exhaling, and just watching that little bitty stuffed animal or plushie rise and fall. So that's a way to help them. And again, for our neurodivergent students, I have practiced this with many students who have needed me to kind of break the steps down so that I can build them up to some of the tapping techniques and things of that nature. And so it's about knowledge of students and knowing what would work for them. And that's why we take that inventory to see what motivates them, what does not, and what works for them when they are dysregulated, okay? So simple movements like stretching, rolling the shoulders, deep breathing, these will allow students to release stress and to, again, build up to some of the other techniques that are noted, okay? And for younger students, especially pre-K, elementary, the belly breathing. There is a video with Elmo that teaches students how to belly breathe. I have used that video multiple times, and Elmo has been, you know, a team player in helping me to do that. And I would encourage you to do the same. It's available on YouTube. It's called belly breathing. And when you do that, they'll sometimes ask for it, you know, and tell you that that is what they would like to do. So in those steps, when they have an opportunity to choose what strategy, and you've added belly breathing in there, this is something that they can ask for when they are off task and need to get back to ready to learn. So, and again, having that calming corner, again, it's not just for preschool. It can be used for all the grades, a space in the classroom. It's like sometimes on our patios, we put the lights up, we got plants. You can do all those things in a special designated place in your classroom. So students from all ages benefit from having a space where they can pause and regulate. Let them take ownership. Invite them to design the space. Include pillows and gentle lighting, a small table lamp, white lights, calming objects, soft sensory tools, or small white noise speakers. You might add chimes or other calming instruments. And when they help to create the space, they feel responsible for it and more willing to use it appropriately. Okay? Let's see. Again, for the older students, especially middle school, high school, again, we can help activate that third vagus nerve. I talked about humming as a strategy. And here's the thing that they can do. They can hum. You can make it so those who were not so much interested, having them hum one of their favorite tunes. Have the students vote on one tune, right? And you can do this weekly or daily. It could be like a new song from the radio, some hip hop, maybe some K-pop, and humming again stimulates that vagus nerves and helps the nervous system shift toward regulation. And this does not need to look like a traditional meditation. We simply use natural behavior, sound, breath, gentle movement to support the nervous system. And so many teachers have asked how to implement these practices without losing instructional time. And I talked about the music piece. I talked about, you know, the read aloud piece. You can do this in a way that you can still incorporate this into your classroom and implement it with the journal writing. There's ways to do it that doesn't take away from the instructional time, but you also, especially if you have a classroom that's pretty rambunctious and they can benefit from this, you may want to make that block of time a daily and consistent practice so that you have better classroom management and your students are learning how to regulate themselves. That is an important key, especially if you add in the growth mindset like I talked about earlier, okay? So they will protect the instructional time. A 1-minute breathing exercise or 2 minutes of chair yoga can prevent 15 minutes of dysregulation or disruption later, okay? So a regulated brain learns better. Calm classrooms create access for literacy, math, and deeper thinking. So I want to remind you that this work is not only for students, it's also for educators. And because teaching is demanding work, there's so many things that we have to do and be, and it can be overwhelming. So chair yoga for you, somatic relaxation, the brain coherent practices can support teachers in maintaining their own balance and well-being. So let's see, what other questions are left? ACEs resources, the adverse childhood experiences. So in the Padlet, I made a column of different videos and some ACEs resources, even a book that gives you more depth information on the study that was conducted so that you have more information there. So thank you for that question. And I did put the resources in the Padlet. Okay, let's see. So there was a question where someone said they wanted to see the strategies used versus videos. I am in the videos. The videos that I showed you, I'm there. I'm showing you the implementation and the fact that you can go back to them and use them over and over again. So thank you for that question, but me showing you the videos, they actually had me in them doing the procedures so that you can go back to them when I'm not around, say for another video. But what I will be doing for middle school is I will be creating a video in a classroom. There won't be any students there, but I think we'll invite Black Mac to come so that I can actually demonstrate how you would go through the script and the way you can implement that so that you see me doing it, and I'll go through the different somatic techniques and some of the yoga poses that you can use. So I'm doing that for middle school. Stay tuned for that, okay? And let's see, what else do we have here? Someone asked, what is the best time of day to implement all of this? So if your students are a little bit squirrely or more rambunctious after outdoor time, I would implement it then. If your students could benefit from this practice in the morning to set the tone of the day, I would do it then. If you are able to embed it in the morning and in the afternoon, go for that. But there is no specific time. It's more of how is your classroom operating and what would work best for your students and you as the teacher in that classroom, okay? Let's see. Resources in the Google Drive instead of the Padlet. I will work on that. Currently, if you could let me know what it is that you favor about the Google Drive, and you can email me to let me know, because everything in that Padlet you can download. All of these items that are in there, everything that you saw me show you today, all of this is in there in a PDF format, and it is licensed for you guys who attended the National Board LAUSD conference. So all these things are in there, but I will work on the Padlet. It won't happen right away, but if you're needing to get to these documents, they're in there, PDF format, ready for you to just press download, and they'll be right there on your computer, okay? So let's see, alternatives for, okay, so we went over that, and how to access Calm and Headspace. Okay, also in the Padlet, there is a space that I put that has resources for apps, and there is a document there that gives you the steps. Now, that is for Headspace. For Calm, what I now remembered is this. That access came through the California Teachers Association, and I put the link in the column that has Headspace there in the Padlet. So at one point they sent it was in the mail, and if you're like me, sometimes you don't really open their mail and see what they have in there. But this time I opened it and it gave me my code. But if you go to their website, they give you the steps how to do that. So I did put the screenshot of what they're asking you to do in the Padlet for you to access Calm, and you get the premium. You get the premium, and I use it at night. It tracks your sleep patterns. It gives you sleep stories. It has binaural beats. It has read alouds where someone is reading to you, and it asks you questions throughout the day. It reminds you to breathe. I would encourage you to get that app, because in order for you to create these regulated spaces in your classroom, you, the educator, you have to be regulated too, okay? So let's see, I think that is all the questions. Let me just double check. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me make sure I showed you everything. Yeah, I did. That's it. And so if you would like to explore, continue exploring this work with me, I would be delighted to have you. I have the Seeing Real Success Kids and Teen Yoga, and although I provided these structured lessons, activities, and strategies that help teachers integrate them into practice, I also have things for you, the educator. There are opportunities for you to join my community of growing individuals who want to work on their health and wellness, be that in nutrition, through yoga, mindfulness, and meditation. So I welcome you to reach out to me via email or join my channel here. And I am interested in learning more about you and working together. So I'd love to continue this conversation. Again, you can find the curriculum and all these resources through the links that I provided below in the comments and also in the Padlet that you were given. And even the presentation is there now. So the whole presentation is there as well, as will this video be after I have uploaded it and put it on my channel. So make sure you look out for that. In the meantime, I will send it over to someone who can email it to all of you guys, but it will be housed in the Padlet and of course on my channel. And so thank you again for all your commitment to students and families and wanting to bring this work into your classrooms. You can always reach out to me for any questions that you may have and how to implement it, or anything that comes up while you're implementing. I will be so happy to help you with that. And I appreciate you, and let's stay connected. Let's see. I think I'm gonna send us out of here with, as we end the session, as I told you to do, with the chime. Thank you for joining me this, after hours session where you can get your questions answered. Thank you for even posing the questions. And I'll just whip the wand and then we'll disappear. Bloop. Black Mac, are you going to say goodbye? She says, "Arr." And again, don't forget, I'm actually working on book 2, The Pirate Who Loved Flip-Flops, available on Amazon online, barnesandnoble.com online, target.com, romans.com, walmart.com, and Ingram Spark. And those links will be below as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a beautiful rest of your day or a beautiful rest of your evening. And thank you for spending this time with me. It was great. And I've never answered questions like this before, but hey, it worked.